Broadcasting from Hollywood, California. It's Grant's Rants, Hollywood Talk.
Dorinda Medl becomes an influencer. Is Lori Harvey Hollywood's newest mess? Dina Lohan faces a DWI while falling on her face. Abby quits ABC's The View, and I get real about my time with Dallas Housewives LeeAnne Locken. That and more with Catherine Jones. Let the ranting begin. I am sitting across from Catherine Jones, an advertising and media professional and listener of Grant's Rants. Welcome.
Thank you so much for having me. This is so fun.
I'm glad to have you on. She's visiting, for those wondering. She's in from New York, and she's here in person. Imagine that, an in-person guest. It's been like months.
It's
nice
so fun.
Nice to have you. Nice to see you. Nice to be across from you. This is going to be good. I love in-person ones. It's just like so comfortable for me, you know. So let's get started. Let's talk about a few things. When we got together for drinks on Friday, and you mentioned to me that Dorinda Medl's Instagram is I don't know. It's creating a stir.
It's a sight to be seen. There's a lot of content coming out of Dorinda's Instagram. It seems that ever since she broke up with John, she's kind of trying to adopt this role as some type of influencer. So I just would recommend everyone goes and checks it out. She'll do these mock cooking videos where she doesn't actually speak to the camera. It's more just, it's very odd.
I hate a cooking video.
Yeah. Also, do we really
can't.
need another cooking?
No.
Like, a la Danielle Stop.
Yeah,
you know?
I can't stand it. That's the thing. Even on talk shows where they have a talk show segment and they're like on Wendy and they'll be like, we're going to make a dish. Is anyone really making that dish?
I don't want to make a dish. No.
No, I'm not interested.
My favorite too is sometimes you can tell she's probably allegedly pre-gaming before going out on the town, hopefully to shoot the show. And she'll just sing to herself into the camera, but just mouthing the words. It's just very odd. And now she's on a website that I guess is
synonymous with porn.
Yes.
Gay porn specifically.
Yes. So I'm a little confused as to what her agenda is there. But I think that her Instagram content is indicative of a lot of great content that we're gonna get on the show this season.
I mean, I did some scrolling. The Instagram post recently on Dorinda Medl, for those who don't know, Real Housewife of New York. She's got some new hair. It's like a new look,
hair,
which I'm all for a new look. I like it. But this look, it's almost like when you wake up, you get a new haircut, and then you wake up the next day and you have to kind of put it back into place.
Yes.
Like it needs a little bit of attention.
It's a possible cry for help.
Yeah, it needs some attention. I agree. There's a variety of posts. There's memes, videos. One of them is just like her recapping like Meghan Markle with some random.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay. Then there's one post with just 3 GIFs of herself.
Yes.
And I was like, okay.
Yeah.
That's an odd one. And, basically influencers are doing this on Instagram to get to the platform that Dorinda is already on.
Yeah, so I don't get why she's doing it.
Right. She doesn't need it.
Yeah.
She already has airtime on a reality show with multiple seasons under her belt, making money, being a brand, if that's what is important to her. Why does she need to go on Instagram at her age and show out and then lip sync to whatever?
Yeah, no, it's very odd. But you know what? She's living her best life.
Yeah. But
I don't. Is there like is she trying to make money off?
I mean, now it's looking that way because she's charging people $4.99 a month to join her OnlyFans, which is a paid subscription website, kind of like Patreon. Like Grant's Rants has a Patreon. Yeah. It's similar. I have audio files up there. Many people post nudes of themselves. Dorinda will post what? I don't know.
Yeah, that's my thing. What is she posting? Like, maybe she'll start a podcast. She did that stint on Radio Andy.
It's only a matter of time.
Yeah.
The door is closed. There's no more room. There's no more room for podcasts, people.
Yeah.
There's just too many people doing them. Now Lala and the other one, the fiance going to create one.
Do Dorit and PK still have one?
Oh, did they have one?
Maybe I'm making that up. But I think they did have one briefly.
Oh, imagine how shallow that was.
I know. In the Biermans.
Oh, yeah. Her show was very successful. I mean,
really?
I could never sit through it, but yeah. I don't know. We don't need any more. We don't need any more. Speaking about just like too much, what do you think of this Lori Harvey? We have never discussed her on this podcast. Lori Harvey, Steve Harvey's adopted daughter. She's doing the most and the least at the same time.
Mm-hmm. You know, I did not know that Steve Harvey had a daughter until I was reviewing these articles. It seems very messy to me. Juicy. I don't know why we care. Are we supposed to?
I don't know.
It's just Steve Harvey doesn't really do it for me personally, even though did you read that note he sent to
the cat, like his crew? Like,
yes.
Don't look at me.
God.
Don't knock on my door.
Yeah.
Don't ask me questions. Yeah, I mean, he's an asshole. Can I just say it?
Yeah.
I can't stand him. I never have. There's a lot of people that rub me the wrong way, but he's at the top of that list. I don't find him to be humble. I don't find him to be approachable. And he's marketing himself a very different way.
Definitely, which... like the Steve Harvey in the memo isn't the Steve that we see on billboards. Yeah. But so his daughter, is she dating Future?
Currently.
Okay.
There's a long list. We'll get there. But unfortunately, the show is coming back. Steve Harvey, for those wondering, we thought it was replaced by Kelly Clarkson. Well, it's coming back, but fortunately, it's coming back on Facebook Watch. So it's easy to avoid.
Yes.
It's very easy to avoid. I'm not interested in watching TV on Facebook. I barely check it myself. Definitely not going to find time to watch Steve.
No.
Count me way out. So, I mean, whatever.
That's funny.
He claims that he's, quote, back on TV, but I mean...
Kind of. Like, back on TV with an asterisk, you know?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, what is TV? That's a loaded question these days, especially in the business. Who knows? But he claims that he would not support by watching the new Kelly Clarkson show that replaced him in his time slot. I mean, it's just so petty. It's
that is very petty.
It's all like syndicated and like so like same time slot where in LA and New York, and then like it doesn't matter really. Yeah, nothing of it matters, especially if you're quote back on TV. Then what do you have to be so worried and threatened by?
That's a very petty move.
Yeah, but that's who he really is. And, you know, Wendy Williams now has piped up. She ripped into Steve and his 23-year-old adopted daughter, Lori, who I mentioned. Wendy said that she'd crack her skull if this girl was her daughter.
Oh, my God.
Because of her behavior. So she's gone through some bad things. Here we go. So there's been a list of many men. Some could say, and I'm wondering myself, if this is a good thing. She's been through football players, Trey Songz, Justin Combs, Diddy's son. Then, after Diddy's son, she went with Diddy, and now she's with Future. So she's just, you know, checking the boxes and going down the list.
That sounds so time-consuming, all those men.
What? I mean, if you
good for her, I guess.
She doesn't need to work. She's got plenty of money. This is her way of making her name. You know, so in a way, like in the past, like I've celebrated on this podcast for hours now, you know, Lindsay and Paris and all, you know, just going through all these guys and like all the shenanigans. But, and you know, that was the golden age for me. But I don't know how I feel about this one. Maybe because she comes from Steve. Maybe that ruins her for me. But I don't know. I don't know if I like this girl.
Yeah, it's also, I feel like, because of Lindsay Lohan, we knew her from the movies and stuff, and Paris Hilton from The Simple Life. We felt as if they had more of a personality where you felt that you know them more, where the only thing that you know about her is that she's Steve Harvey's daughter.
Yeah, like Lindsay and Brittany, like they were rebelling against like the Disney system that made them objects.
Yes. Yeah.
And, you know, they were finding their own identity on a public stage, where this one's just coming straight out of privilege and like, I want to be the new it girl, and I want to have all these like rapper boyfriends.
Yeah.
That's the difference, I guess. I don't know if I don't know, but like there's more to her. She has been charged with 2 misdemeanors. She had a hit and run where her car was turned upside down in the middle of the street. Where
Did she just get up and walk away?
Yeah. And then they caught up with her, and what her response was to FaceTime Steve. And so Steve had to talk to the police officer.
So is he enabling?
What's that dumbass going to say to the police officer? She hit and run. What are you going to do?
Flipped over her car.
Yeah.
She was lucky she wasn't hurt.
Yeah.
That's wild.
What an idiot.
Yeah.
So, you know, I don't know what else to say, but here's the thing. What pisses me off the most about this is Steve, who's supposed to be the adopted parent here, what he's preaching in his movies and on the TV show and Ask Steve and, how to think like a man and all this is exactly the opposite of how this girl is behaving as far as going around with all these guys, going to father, son, being the around town. I don't know what to call her, but she's all over the place. I mean, that's her prerogative, but that's against what he has been preaching and made so much money at on his radio show and the talk show and the films. So it just seems to me like Steve's a big hypocrite here.
Yeah. Also, flipping your car isn't cool and leaving.
Yeah.
And then calling your dad to try and get out of it or whatever she was trying to do.
But I like that Wendy called it out because I've not enjoyed Steve in a long time.
Yeah. I'll have to check out the Facebook watch.
Oh, God, let me know how it is.
Yeah.
And just tweet me so it's only a few characters. I'm not that interested.
Yeah.
Let's turn to, again, my number one, Dina Lohan.
Oh, geez. Dina.
Where do we go from here? Love Dina to death. To me, the original, the orange Oprah as Perez. Gross, but Perez used to refer to her as. I love Dina. I had a picture of her in one of my bedrooms years ago. I just enjoy her for just all the shenanigans. So this time now, she's back. She's facing 6 charges. Allegedly, she T-boned a car outside the Outback Steakhouse in Merrick. Is that in New York or New Jersey?
It's in Long Island.
Oh, even better.
Yes, yeah.
So now she has this DWI. And she was driving a 2016 Mercedes, and she allegedly fled the scene. Another hit and run.
I know. Perfect timing. Perfect segue.
I know.
Yeah.
This is the theme of the episode. And a woman, and I wish I could find the name of this one. A woman in another car saw this and followed Dina to her house.
Bold.
I love her for it. Oh. That would be me.
I know.
Because Dina's pretty recognizable.
Yes.
And especially drunk Dina. I watched it on Big Brother and I'm very familiar. So I would be like, oh, there she is. Mm-hmm. Like, that's a sighting,
Yes.
And then to follow her, which is dangerous because the woman, I don't know how she was driving.
Yeah.
I don't know how big this Mercedes was. But to go up to, that's bold, to go up to the gates and everything.
Oh my God. It's also just, it's just wild to me that one, don't ever get in your car if you've been drinking, and this is the second time, right?
Yes, this is the second time, which now means that she's facing a felony charge.
Yes, and also the leaving the scene never helps. Obviously, she was coming out of a strip mall, I believe. There's a lot of cameras. I don't know. Maybe she thought she was going to get away with it. It's just...
I mean, it's so ignorant on her behalf to think that no one would record that.
Yeah, and that I feel for her because maybe this is obviously an obstacle for her.
Yes. Again, we've been here before. I had a Lohan Christmas tree a few years ago with all the family's mugshots, and hers
I love that.
was at the top, the star of the family, Dina, and the star in my life. But now there's been no second mugshot released. And again, this back in the day, people would do research and they would call up these police. I don't know where they are.
Yeah.
They'd call up the places and they'd be like, release this information, show me the mugshot, and then it would be on TMZ 45 minutes later. Now people aren't doing the work. But let me tell you, the audience is still here. Me, at least, alone, would like to see the mugshot.
I would like to see it too. I think I
need to update the Christmas tree.
I'd like it on a mug or something.
Yes. I have to update my collection.
Yeah.
I was just going through all the Christmas stuff and I was like, oh, I still have all the pictures. These are sacred, not getting rid of these.
And she's a beautiful woman, so I'm sure she looked great. I did read in page 6, I believe, that she fell upon the police officers arriving at the house. Yes.
Apparently fell on her face.
Yeah, and I love that the woman who followed her didn't just follow and call the police. She stayed and watched everything. She's me. She's me. She canceled her plans that evening to follow her home from the Outback Steakhouse.
Wherever you are in the hills of Long Island, are there hills there? I don't even know. Wherever you are invited, there's an open invitation to come on Grants Rants.
Yeah.
Oh, I love it. I need to know who this is immediately. Dina refused a drug and alcohol test, and she did observe, according to police, signs of intoxication. She's I don't know what. I'm not alleging anything. I don't know. But Dina's an interesting character. She's sometimes she's there, sometimes no one's home.
Yeah.
And I enjoy her for it. Oh my God, I can't get enough of the story, especially the fact that she fell on her face, allegedly, which I don't know. That makes her a good story, but I don't know.
But who knows?
Who knows? But, Dina is someone dealing with like a crisis right now. With a background in crisis management, what would you say? What advice?
What's hard with her situation is because this is a pattern. It's much more difficult to reconcile something when you've done it before, since this wasn't the first arrest. So I it's hard because basically I would tell her to take care of herself and download Uber as soon as possible. And then and also apologize because you're lucky someone didn't get hurt.
Yeah. And again, this is like you said, a pattern more than once.
Yeah. So people aren't going to be as receptive to hearing apologies. It's more take care of yourself.
It seems like there's some type of a spin going on here because they're like, she refused to take the test. So now they're saying everything is alleged and she didn't test and that that she's not guilty because she didn't take the test.
A lot. Yeah. That is a common thing. I guess people will refuse them.
Right. But that doesn't mean that doesn't mean that she didn't drive into that person.
Yeah, and it's
captured
that's where
on
it's
video,
like you
and there's a witness.
You still did a hit and run, so
yeah, and there's a witness.
Yeah.
So I mean, I don't know.
You're gonna have some trouble there.
Yeah, she's facing all these charges. We'll see how it all shakes out. But I need 2 things released in 2020. One is that mugshot.
Yes,
that has to happen. And then 2, Lindsay Lohan. I need the new music and the Xanax full track because that came out in August. The teaser. And I know all the words, and I'm sick of the words. I need to know what the other words are now.
Yeah, Rumors. That was a great song. She could come out with some bangers. The show didn't work out.
Yeah, no, it really didn't.
Come back with some music.
And I mean, I talk about Lindsay all day, every day when I can. But like, I'll be honest with you, like that show I watched maybe about 80% of it, and then I just couldn't finish it. It was like the last 2 episodes. Maybe it was like 2.5. And it wasn't about Lindsay. It was about these random people that didn't care about living on a beach. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, if it was about like that Lindsay documentary that I reference all the time on OWN, like I watched every frame of that.
Yeah.
And you can't find it. And Christy Olsen, friend of the podcast, we talk about it all the time. We are trying to find those episodes, but Oprah hid them. They're somewhere in some vault.
Why? Why would she ever do that?
I know. They're on YouTube, I think, in bits and pieces. They're mirrored. They're mirrored backwards. Like, no. I need to see the original.
Like, I need this documentary, and why has it been scrapped?
I think it's Oprah just being like, oops, well, I didn't turn everything into gold.
Yes. Yeah.
But so apparently now it's buried in a Lindsay Lohan fan Instagram account, which I don't follow, but maybe I should. There was a comment made by Lindsay herself. They said, we need the new music. We need new music, Lindsay. And so she commented, end of Feb, ! So this is there are articles written about this. There's nothing confirmed from any record label. This is the confirmation we're getting.
Will she be releasing it on her own, maybe?
Just put it out there at this point.
Yeah.
Yeah, because people comment. There's always one comment in all of her Instagram pictures, like, where's Xanax? Like, people want it.
Yeah.
So just leak it or something. Like,
yes.
Who is producing this album, and where are they? Do they have any strategy?
Yeah.
So this is the announcement we get at the hidden
on an
comments.
Instagram? Oh, geez.
I mean, at least give an interview to a radio host. Like, she's got all these friends in other countries. She's supposed to be tight with Lorne Michaels. Then, drop a line over to Seth Meyers or the other one.
Or
the
Jenny
Tonight
McCarthy. Go on Jenny McCarthy's show.
Yeah.
I could see them, Jenny would
do it.
Jenny would get something out of her, I think.
Yeah, she'd do it.
Yeah.
So I don't know what we're going to get. I'm thinking it's probably an EP. Maybe it's going to be 3-4 songs max.
Yeah.
I'm not expecting the 13-track album with a bonus feature and all that. So I'll take what I can get.
Honestly, I just like the single.
Yeah. Let's just put that
at least.
out.
Yeah.
Let's just finish that project, Lindsay, and move on.
Mm-hmm.
I think she did say on New Year's Eve to Andy and Anderson that she was expecting to have another comeback this year. And it's not every year can be a comeback.
No. Again, the pattern thing.
Yeah.
I
feel for her, but if she doesn't have the right representation, she can say she wants to come back all she can.
She needs a team.
Yeah. She needs a team with a strategy and okay, we're going to get you out. We're going to she needs one good landmark project that's going to launch her. And it could have been that MTV show if it was a hit.
Yeah. I think she should lean into the music.
Why not?
Yeah.
Paris Hilton does a little of everything.
Yeah.
She does the fashion. She has the stores. She puts out a track like every year or two. Now she's got the YouTube channel. She's DJing. I mean, she's got every kind of little bit covered.
Yes. Yeah.
And I respect her for it. I mean, that's a serious hustle. And, she was DJing for a minute.
Yeah.
She's got the nightclubs, but, I feel like she's going to do something big.
I hope so. 2020 is her year.
Oh God, I don't. Every year has been her year.
Yeah.
I don't know. Let me know when it happens.
Back and better.
We've been holding out for us for a long time. Well, when we come back, we're going to talk about The View. Everybody, knows my distaste for the show. Abby Huntsman's leaving. There's a lot of rumors going on. I love a good rumor about behind the scenes on The View. So I can't wait to talk about that. Then I want to give some final thoughts about Dallas, including a story I have about my personal interaction with LeeAnne and how it kind of left me feeling. I think I should talk about it on the podcast. Mm-hmm. So we'll do that. We're going to talk more with Catherine in a moment. Now this.
You're listening to Grant's Rants. Subscribe and spread the word. There are a lot more rants to come. Listen anytime on all major podcasting platforms. And now, back to the show.
And we're back on the podcast talking with Catherine Jones, listener and friend. And I'm just excited because I feel like we have a lot in common. We're fairly new friends, but we're just really hitting it off.
We are. We actually, the first time we met was the night of Countess Land's show in Los Angeles.
God. And we sat like the third to last row.
Yes.
And then we went out in New York recently to the Regency.
The Regency. Oh my gosh. For a nice $25 drink.
Oh, that Regency is just like any stale hotel bar you could go to.
Also, the lighting. Ugh. The lighting is awful.
And the clientele is exactly who you think it is.
Yes, exactly.
It's like, it's like perfect. You couldn't cast a bar more douchey than that bar.
They should recruit new cast members.
Yeah. Someone just needs to go in there with a clipboard and a still camera and start casting. Who did we see? There was a sighting. Do we think it was really her?
I think it might have been Danielle's daughter.
Yeah, there was a girl who looked just like one of Danielle's daughters holding a dog on her lap with a table full of men who were perhaps, how old? Would you say the average age was?
Hovering around 35. 35 and up.
35 and up, yeah. There were a couple of them.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure that was her.
It looked just like her. Yeah. I mean, she's beautiful.
Yeah, it easily could have been, but it just seemed like a little out of place. Enough for us to notice.
Yes.
Yes. Regency, your prices are way too high and your service was lousy, but the popcorn was good.
The popcorn was great. And they give a mixed nut selection that's nice.
Yeah, well, it's like one of those things. While I was there, I'll do it once.
Yes.
Kind of like Countess and Friends, like don't need to do it again.
Yeah,
I already did it
way.
twice,
I'm not
actually.
doing it again.
Yeah, no, that was enough for me.
Yeah.
Speaking about enough. Abby Huntsman, she called it off. She's off The View. Quick exit. She basically gave her public notice on a Monday and walked out the door on a Friday. I wish I could do that where I am, to be honest with you. I'm jealous.
Yeah, it's really interesting. Like you said, I don't, the type of environment where she could just leave that quickly. I mean, that's kind of a sign of dysfunction. Definitely. Do you think that she was pushed out?
No, because it's odd timing. Now, this is what I wonder. No one's writing about this, but these women are under contracts. Now, the contracts are they're in favor of the network. So, they can go in and lower someone's guarantee. That way you're not on 5 days a week. They did that with Michelle Collins. They're like, oh, we'll put you on, Fridays in the last segment. The poor thing was on and then off that show real quick. But they can adjust it on their end. But it seems to me in this case that Abby was probably contracted till September, and she went to the brass and was like, "This is a toxic environment. This is what I'm gathering." And they were like, "Okay, we'll work with you to change your contract." But I think she was probably. I don't see how people can just get up and go.
Yeah, I also think that typically in such a toxic environment, the show wouldn't be as sustainable. But it's almost like in a weird way, this show thrives off of the toxicity of the environment, which
isn't that weird?
It is weird. And I think it kind of does seep through on camera. I mean, I can't imagine being in a situation like that. Just how unpleasant it must be, but also she wanted to allegedly get out of her contract. Like, that is not an easy decision. So
yeah,
she must have been unhappy.
Yeah, I mean, I listened to the Page Six podcast, and they were saying, like, they just came back, and all the shows did. Everyone came back from a long vacation, like winter break. And so Meghan McCain already had to take time out, which was unexpected. Apparently, she just needed, like, a mental break. Now this one's leaving, and it's like the show just came back. Like, how bad is it?
Yeah. Also, like, I don't know. What do you think of Meghan McCain on the show? Because I thought initially that she had a good rapport just from clips that I've seen with the other women. But it seems like it is starting to wear on her a lot. But
yeah, I think this is just because, again, it all starts with not friend of the show, nemesis of the show, Barbara Walters, who will never get an invitation on this podcast. Big deal. But still, can't stand her. I think that there's just, from the beginning, it was just set with a toxic place. That book, Ladies Who Punch, confirms so much of what I already knew about the show. I think it all starts at the top. It started in the beginning. It's just a bad environment. But I believe that the women, to answer your question, they get off that set. Whoopi's running out with a cigarette, and the car is already running because the driver's going to take her out. Joy can't get out of there fast enough. I don't think there's any camaraderie there. So to have any type of relationship behind the scenes, I don't think it exists. I think they go into hair and makeup. That's where they say their hellos. They review the outline, and then they go on and do it, and then they're out of there by 11:05 Eastern. Like,
that's super interesting.
So I don't think that all this, like, fighting really happens. I just don't think they have a relationship. And what we see on air is really it.
Yeah.
You know, but apparently no one's talking to Meghan. I don't know. I can't imagine that it would get to that level.
I know. And also, if they're running in and out of there, like we hypothesize, then how can they not talk to you if they never did in the first place? And it was limited to on air.
Yeah. It seems like this is really just like these hosts are just going to come in and do it and go.
It'll be interesting to see how long it lasts.
Well, that's it. They're really not planning for the future. I mean, they got so much banked on Joy and Whoopi, who both of which, you know, Joy's not going to last forever on that show. Whoopi already has been trying to get off that show for years. So they need to figure out, like, all these other, they're the only constants. And they need to keep somebody else there long enough that's likable enough. Like, I don't like Sunny Hostin. I think she's a total waste of time. I really don't appreciate her opinions very much. And then everyone else just goes. Meghan's not going to last on that show.
No, she'll leave, because especially if it gets too exhausting. I mean, she could go do something somewhere else on another show, most likely.
Right. This Page Six article said that basically the executives that Abby went to said that they're not going to do anything about it. They're just stuck in their ways. The woman's name who's in charge of talent is Barbara Fedita, and she was there, like, basically almost waving on camera when Abby made her announcement that she was leaving. And she's like, I spoke with Barbara and it all worked out. But, you know, it just makes everybody look like everyone's great and wonderful.
Yes.
But, like, you know, when you get to that point, I mean, I don't understand. I know she's leaving to work on her father's campaign, but to have a network TV paid position under a contract, to walk away from that, it's odd.
It's also a lot of repercussions could be associated with that.
Right. Yeah. Abby should basically tell the truth, in my opinion.
It would be
like, just burn that bridge and just be like, let me tell you what's really going on.
And Ladies Who Punch, the revised, updated version.
Yes. Yeah, I would have so much respect for Abby if she did come out and speak out against it, because not necessarily to be messy and juicy for me, but I mean, like, it's to call out a toxic work environment for what it is. That's how you get real change. And she's in the position where she is a public figure where it would make a difference, you know? And so I would really respect her if she went out and was like, you know what, the producers were the last to know about this. They don't consult us on that. You know, we all feel expendable, like we don't have any communication, whatever it is. But I would love for her to be able to just shout it out. But I know that she's already moved on. She's worried about working on her father's campaign. She's not going to worry about that. But she is in a position where she could.
Yeah. Maybe she'll wait a bit and then get back to it. Again, hopefully there will be like a continuously updated version of Ladies Who Punch.
Yes. I mean, this show just keeps going whether we want it or not. But they've left some type of door open whether she'll come back or not after the campaign. She's not going to come back to that show.
No.
Just to put it in context, this is someone who worked under Roger Ailes, and she's saying that The View is toxic. So put that in perspective.
That's some perspective.
Yeah.
Big perspective.
Yeah. Let's take a look at Real Housewives of Dallas and share our final thoughts. I think this season was rough. The reunion was not holding my attention.
It was rough. I mean, I could not ever watch it again and be completely fine and forget about it. I think that, I mean, this whole mess with LeeAnne and the things that she said, which were, I think everyone agrees universally, like derogatory, very just, but the bigger thing is it showed how she appears to be very predictably unpredictable. Like she just flies off the handle and will kind of behave. Some of her behavior, how I observed it on the show, seemed a little bit scary. Like I would worry about, like, it seems very hard on her. I don't know. Not that's separate from what the things that she said about Carrie, but I don't know. With all the depression talk and stuff, it was very difficult to hear for everyone.
And I know that's like real to her, but it's also, it's like she has to think of the people around her too that are hearing this, and it's like, should they be concerned? Is this for attention?
Because you have to take those comments seriously. If someone's talking about hurting themselves or making threats towards other people. And
you're also on someone's vacation too. And, you know, I mean, it's like, if that's serious, then that's not something you would say at a, on camera at a dinner table. You'd run up to a producer and be like, yeah, I'm not doing this.
Exactly.
Like,
like there are lines.
People's vacation. I don't know. Here's the thing. So recently, Brandy left a wellness retreat after this video resurfaced of her impersonating Asians. She made a big statement on our podcast. I watched the whole thing. It was a long, drawn-out thing. I think you've said enough now. You went to the wellness retreat. Like, just let it go.
Let it go. Put out one solid, good apology. Stay away from social media for a bit.
I agree.
Take a break.
Yeah.
If you need to go to a wellness retreat, fine. You have the means to do so. It sounds amazing.
She's lucky that she has the resources to do that.
But I think kind of her doing that is separate from the video. I mean, apologize for the video, make it sincere, and then don't say, and then I'm going to a wellness retreat because of this video. No, you're going to the wellness retreat due to like the emotional ramifications of putting out something that was stupid and derogatory. And it was a long time ago. I don't know. You can tell me what you think, but I guess I'll rant a little bit here, because I just heard Bronwyn talking on a podcast about how Tamara would call her after like social media things because Bronwyn wasn't able to get out of bed for 2 weeks. And Brandy's was very similar. While I empathize with their pain, and that must be very difficult, you're also on a show. So there does come a point where it's like, if this is affecting your mental health and ultimately physical health so much, then maybe you're not right for the show.
Yeah, I mean, like these women, they're not used to this. They're not used to being on a public international platform like this. So how would they don't like, to me, I get it where someone like her would need to go away for a while because she's not used to international scrutiny and cancel culture.
I totally get that in this situation, especially with like the video, like she was bombarded with, I'm sure it's very difficult. And even when they first sign up for the show, like a newbie, like Bronwyn or something, it takes getting used to that public scrutiny. But you have to know that like this is going to be new and I'm going to have to adjust and deal with it without it like impacting you so much that you can't get out of bed.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's true. You have to be prepared. I don't know what to say about this situation other than this wedding planner for both LeeAnne and Cameron.
He needs to be canceled.
Yeah, he was the one who is accused of leaking the video. I mean, it's on his Twitter, so I mean, it's there. You can see it. But he was there, and basically it was in support of LeeAnne's, my opinion, and LeeAnne's racist comments. Basically, what Brandy said in the video, but this was a deflection and a takedown, and that's why they put it out, because of her comments made at the reunion that they were going to go back and they're going to try to get Brandy in the hot seat to deflect. I believe that's what happened.
It sounds like that's what happens.
It's gross.
happen.
Yeah.
And I just think that this is why the show is so problematic. The ratings aren't great, right? It needs to maybe end.
Maybe
now.
I think it might be time to let it go. I would not be upset if they got rid of the show.
Yeah.
I would not.
Because
and this was like one of my number one shows.
I really liked it.
I loved Dallas.
The last season was, or I guess it's over now, but the one before, was that 3? Season 3?
Yeah, I like 2.
That was great.
Yeah,
2 and 3 were great.
I enjoyed it. Now I'm just not that interested. I don't know. There's been a lot of podcasts out there talking about Dallas recently and where they should go with casting. And LeeAnne, is she really out? Maybe they're gonna phase her out. But then like, what's left? I mean, is anyone really that interested in Deandra? Stephanie said she won't do the show if Brandy can't do the show.
So they're a package deal, and
just,
things like that. It's just not gonna work.
I think it might be a good place to stop. But I'm saying this as a fan of the show.
Yeah.
But like. I don't know, man. I don't know. It got ugly towards the end, and it wasn't really that enjoyable to watch.
It got really ugly and not entertaining.
Yeah, and like I was always pretty like tight with LeeAnne and friendly with her, but basically I had Mama D on this podcast, and that was a good wild episode. If you guys want to go back and listen to that one,
it was a great one.
Yeah, thank you. That was a good episode. I enjoyed it a lot, and it was just fun to have a perspective and all that. Well. A couple weeks later, I saw LeeAnne at an event in West Hollywood for a charity, believe it or not, charity. And we were there. And so the first thing she said to me was like, oh, Deandra, she lied to you. She lied to you about everything. Mama D, she lied to you. And that was like the greeting that I got. And I'm like, come on now. Like, what are you even talking about? So apparently she did listen to the show. I don't know. And, later, she was like, let's talk. So she pulled me over to a table, and we had this whole one-on-one sit-down conversation. And it got very personal, and I'm not going to get into all of what was said, but, like, I may have even told some of this story. But it got really, really intense, where at one point, someone had to come over to make sure, like, we were okay. And basically, I just feel like she was having, like, a big like breakdown over this stuff. And I don't know, it could have just, maybe I was in the wrong place at the wrong time. But I don't know, I ended up just ending it with saying, like, look, I really respect you and what you've been through. And it was a lot of her story and the triggers and things. But I don't know how that related to Mama D being on my podcast.
Yeah.
Other than, and this is how I perceive it now, other than me being manipulated into, I had Mama D on so as a retaliation for giving her a platform to speak against LeeAnne, she's going to now play into me with, throwing all of this heavy stuff on me and then, making me be sympathetic to her, which I never had Mama D on the podcast to be disrespectful to her. In fact, I've asked LeeAnne to come on the podcast many times, and I've been having personal contact with her publicist, and I've been trying to get her to come on even after the season. So I don't want to hear it. Yeah. Everyone has an opportunity to come on if they want to talk. So don't come for me for that crap.
And you had her on, Mama D on, to discuss
the comments,
the show and the comments.
There were comments that LeeAnne made. It was in response to LeeAnne's comments against her as a mother. So, I mean, it can go both ways. I'm not team anybody here. But I just felt like reflecting on that, watching how the other women, including Deandra, spoke to her throughout the season and saying, like, you deflect, you use your past to manipulate people. And I was like, well, that's what she did to me.
Yes. And also from just a communication perspective, why is she just apologize for the comments that you made, which were wrong, and really hurtful to many people? Probably, I think viewers as a whole were really turned off by it, rightfully. That has nothing to do with your childhood.
Yeah.
Like, we can recognize your childhood trauma, but that has nothing to do with the fact that you said things that were really derogatory and hurtful. Apologize. On
the reunion, I feel like she went in saying, like, I'm going to agree when they say this was wrong, and I'm going to back it up and admit to it. But what she did that in bits and pieces. But then in between those admissions, then that's when, like, the excuse is, well, I say this, and I've always said that, and everybody says this. And it's like, you just got to stick to the script in that case and just say, or to the truth and say, I was ignorant, I was wrong, this was incorrect.
Yeah.
Don't defend your bad behavior when then in the next breath you're saying that Angie's right in his analysis of the situation. So what is it?
Yeah. Apologies can't come with footnotes.
Good point. I agree. Well, that's my rant on that. I don't dislike LeeAnne. I like all the ladies, but
I always really enjoyed her. She slapped that trolley, remember?
I just, want to share my experience because I'm watching the show and I'm like, man, I can see where this would go to an even more extreme level.
Imagine being on a cast where that's happening all the time. I can imagine that being so frustrating.
Yeah, because it's too much. It's too much. You can't communicate like that. Mm-hmm. So LeeAnne could use a crisis manager. I mean, I don't know. You've been good. God. You've been giving out some advice to Brandy and to Dina and to LeeAnne. So, I'm always fascinated by people who worked in that space. Like, what did you do when you worked in crisis management?
So I worked for a PR firm in one of their departments. It was the legal department. So we actually assisted law firms with media relations. So that would be like kind of getting them free publicity by having their lawyers quoted, etc. But then also handling media that surrounded their cases, which sometimes was very like crisis management centric because certain cases that they were working on, the nature of them. And then we also did some crisis management that were like exclusively based on like, here's the situation and we need media help to mitigate it. So I no longer work in that space. I now work in brand partnerships for a digital media company, but I was always really interested in that type of work to just, as I was an entry-level person, I was able to watch executives interact and really troubleshoot these situations, knowing when to talk, when to not.
Does it boil down to a public apology? Is that mainly what it is, or is it like staying out of the public eye? Like, what are the main? I'm just so interested.
I think it can be both. I think that sometimes we see this in housewives all the time. They'll make an apology, but then it's all this follow-up stuff. Then they go on social media and then there's reaction. And it's like, maybe don't issue an immediate apology, sit on it for a bit, come up with a strategy, and then put it out. And then maybe go silent. But less is more.
Yeah, I agree.
And quality matters. Maybe if you're not sorry yet, then maybe don't apologize. So only apologize if you plan on changing and if you actually understand that what you did or what you said is wrong.
Right, because people can smell BS.
Yes. Yeah. And it doesn't mean as much. You can tell when people are truly sorry. And sometimes it does. Sometimes a comeback story doesn't need to be immediate. They should wait.
Right. I think it's fascinating because we're in this cancel culture, but then also you've got someone like Mel Gibson who's sitting in the front row of the Oscars.
Yeah.
I just can't wrap my mind around all of it.
We have a very selective cancel culture.
Very much so.
In terms of some people get away with things. And then also it's with watching, I know you and I spoke about this the other night when we were out for drinks, but with the housewives, obviously there is certain behavior that is completely unacceptable, but these women at the same time, we see their bad behavior all of the time. So it's like, can we turn it into a teachable moment? Because some of them might not know. Or like some of them, this might just be who they are.
Are you talking about Ramona?
Oh, actually my favorite. So
yeah, well,
so entertaining.
So entertaining. But yeah, I don't know about a teachable moment for her. It might be too late.
Yeah.
But
a lot of them might be. Also, these women are like middle-aged. I don't think they're going to change that much. Like, we can call them out for their bad behavior, but their apologies are just getting too messy. And I don't know what PR, like they have personal people, but I don't know.
Look,
less is more with them, I think. And delete Instagram and social media from your computer because it's bad for your mental health and it's not making the situation better.
Good advice. I think when it comes to housewives specifically, reality stars or even actors, I mean, like, you got to lower the bar a little bit of expectations, especially with housewives. I mean, think of how they cast these women. It's just like, who's in the friend group that has money? They're not. There's no moral code, really.
There isn't a code of ethics.
No, there just isn't. It's just not that kind of show. No one's looking into Portia Williams' background and, giving her like a moral test. What would you do in this situation?
No.
Like, it's just, they just put her on the show. She's funny. She's pretty. She's got stuff going on. So I feel like people can't put these women at such a high standard.
Yeah.
I mean, they come from different walks of life.
They're not running for office.
Yeah. And you're going to get what you're going to get.
Yeah.
Now, Can they F up and apologize and learn from them? Yes. But I don't feel like people should be so quick to just like, cancel these people just because they're growing and learning like the average person.
Yeah.
They're just doing it on camera.
Yes.
Anyway, thank you for joining me on the podcast.
Thank you so much for having me. This was so fun.
I feel like we covered a lot.
Yes.
We had some in-depth conversation. This was a good one.
Yeah. This
Thank
was
you.
awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you guys for listening. I love you for it. As always, stay on the podcast. Keep listening. There's going to be some changes coming up. Actually, very exciting. I'm really excited about what we're going to do next on the podcast. A lot of life changes in my own life will be happening in the next couple of months. So just keep hanging out. Tell your friends. Let's get these numbers back to where they were before I got sick. And let's have a good time doing it. Thank you. I love you for listening. And as always, we'll be back with more rants. My thanks to Catherine.
Thank you.
This has been Grant's Rants. Support the Rants on Patreon at patreon.com/Grant's Rants. Follow Grant on Twitter and Instagram at It's Grant's Rants. Cover art created by Howie Rone. Voiceover by Aw Yeah! Original theme music by Alexander Arntzen. The Grant Michael Collection.